What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube, presented by Pure Options Craft Cannabis. If you are just thinking, man, it's summer, this is great, how can I enhance my experience? How can I get ready for vacation? Or how can I get through this week? It's only Monday. Pure Options is here for you. Go to pureoptions.com, download the app today, swing by any location, anytime. Well, not day or night. I mean, they do have hours, but you can see those on the website or on the app. They're in Lansing, Muskegon, Mount Pleasant, Detroit. Join their Pure Perks loyalty program, and you can have your Pure Options experience, be it events, be it specials, deals, whatever it might be, tailored right to you and to your email inbox like they are for me. Again, that's pureoptions.com. And our Monday afternoon show brought to you by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels. It may be 70 degrees outside right now, but it is not 70 at night. And as you're thinking about, spring and summer cool nights by the lake or in the backyard and, roasting s'mores and things like that, all the stuff that we do while watching Hallmark movies and whatnot in the Couch household. If you've got a Muskox flannel with you, you're comfortable. It gets down to 65. It gets down even, I'm telling you, Muskox is not just for the winter. It is for all year round. It is for those cool summer evenings to feel comfortable, to look your best. And you can go to gomuskox.com, of course, and use the promotional code for Couch and the Rube listeners. Fix it in post at gomuskox.com. Jason, how you doing, brother?
Not talking about this.
No.
No.
Iguna Yaba Gita Jared Goff.
Hey, man. I didn't mean to hit the hairy one, but yeah, hey. Jared Goff was at the Pistons game yesterday. NBA refs are ass. I saw him with his Muskox flannel on.
We got to get Jared Goff in a Muskox.
You sure that wasn't a Muskox?
It might have been.
I just see every flannel as like a Muskox.
Well,
and this is not because they're a great sponsor of ours, but I'm being serious. Like I saw it, I go, I'm so used to you being on TV, in a March Madness game or something. I'm like, oh shit, look at that, Jared Goff got a Muskox.
And I think for a man who cares about quality, you would think it would be a Muskox.
Yeah.
I can't imagine he would go another way.
Yeah, they're nice flannels.
Yeah.
That would be in Jared Goff's price range. Right there.
Yeah.
They're nice.
Yeah, well, they're not. You don't have to be Jared Goff. You don't have to make $50 million a year to afford a Muskox flannel, but we'll fix that in post.
Well, if you want to go full Jeff Kohler and buy the whole row one, yeah, got to have that money. Yeah.
By the way, props to shout out to the softball dad who doing the Gorham High School softball broadcast.
Yeah,
brought up Eastlick and promoted Muskox, and so Muskox making its way to Southern Maine. We very much appreciate the Ernie Harwell Southern Maine Gorham softball dad.
Were we shouted out in that? Like I caught a little bit of his broadcast. Or we just left out.
Well, why would
be kind of weird? Because if people are listening, they're like, "Who's Chris Eastlick?"
Well, that's part of the fun of it. If you are broadcasting high school softball, I feel like you can have that kind of fun.
Yeah, smoking Pure Options during it.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah. No, that was great. Yeah,
it was awesome. It's awesome. So I think this is gonna be a good show.
Yeah,
we'll see. A lot of stuff happened this weekend. I like the I think our listener takes are good today. I think it's going to be a fun discussion. MSU hoops and football, some good stuff there. Obviously, the NFL draft, the Pistons, Tigers. A lot of
Not talking about this.
An eclectic show, and maybe a little Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend.
Dude, CBS Sunday Morning was on fire. It was such a shame that Treese was out of town and I was by myself. But man, that was the highlight of the weekend. You want to do your Xfinity read now? Because that was, oh man. I want a reality show with this I don't care about anything else today. We can't critique Brad Holmes and the Lions and anything. Can't talk about that. I got to sit there and be happy that Javi Baez is hitting 281 now. Like, let's just talk about Bill Belichick and a 24-year-old girlfriend that's running the show. Let's talk about it.
It was amazing. His look at her and the fact that they had the camera behind him so it showed her. It ruins the whole thing. Like, the whole idea of we're not going to talk about that, when that winds up being on camera, it makes it so much worse than talking about it.
All they did was ask how you guys met. It's been out there forever that you guys met on a plane ride, and now all of a sudden that's the one thing you don't want to talk about. I mean, he's on Instagram, or his Instaface, as he likes to Tom Izzo it, and he's on there with taking a picture with her, like he's got a rod and a reel and a fisherman's thing, and she's in a mermaid outfit in the water. But no, I don't want to ask how you guys met. I mean, that's insane.
By the way, you see what he was wearing? I mean, there's a man who needs a muskox flannel.
I'm not talking about this.
You got to get Bill Belichick's muskox.
She dresses him too.
Maybe was
that like his dad's naval sweater or something? Like, come on, can we at least explain?
Well, maybe the way they actually met wasn't that, and they just don't want people to dig into it. But now they will. Anyway.
But you could just say that, though.
Yeah.
If you don't want people to know the real story, be like, we met on a plane.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, fascinating. You signed her book. I mean, bring us into that conversation. She wants to be famous. She wants to be a reality star or something. Whatever she wants to do. I don't know. We got to hear about it.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that the whole goal?
Well, I can't imagine. I mean, it's his personality, I guess.
And CBS Sunday Morning, they never step out of the box. And they were sitting there, they were talking about like, oh yeah, but they showed the producer talking with I forget what the guy's name that does it, the annoying guy from CBS Morning Show. But he was doing it, and it shows him in the B-roll talking to his producer, and she's talking to Belichick. And they're like, oh yeah, she had her hands in everything. And CBS Sunday Morning never does shit like that. It was just, oh my God.
Are you a big CBS Sunday morning fan?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a staple of our household. We every morning it sets us straight. It gets the weekend. It's like it just settles everything for the week right on Sunday morning with Jane Pauley. We love it.
I love it. All right.
I mean, come on, we're getting old as fuck. We got to see other people that are. I mean, it makes us feel. It's the only show that pretty much makes us feel younger as 46-year-olds.
Do you watch like Blue Bloods or Walker Texas Ranger on CBS at night?
No.
On Sunday nights?
Jesus, fuck no.
Oh,
I would say I would watch The Equalizer with Queen Latifah before I'd watch just because I like CBS Sunday Morning because they do a great job. It doesn't mean I have to watch the rest of the boring shit. I don't have to drive 20 miles underneath the speed limit like people of that age group like to do on Sunday mornings. No, it doesn't mean I like everything else. I don't like Hallmark movies. I like CBS Sunday Morning with Jane Pauley. It makes me feel whole.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
We watched a good movie this weekend that was sort of like a Hallmark movie. Now I can't remember the name of it, so I shouldn't have brought it up. God, I don't know why I do this stuff. I couldn't name it. If you put a gun to my head right now and said name it, and gave me 100 years, I couldn't come up with it. Oh yeah, it was like
Off.
Oh, I do have it. It was like La Volta, Dolce La Volta. It was some Italian. It was like a young woman who buys an Italian villa for like $1 on Netflix. It's not bad, but it's got some Netflix. It's got some Hallmark vibes. It's not bad. My wife and I.
How could you sit there and promote a show? First of all, you don't know the name of it, and then the pitch for it is complete ass. She buys a villa in Italy for $1. Sounds far fetched to me.
Well, they're trying to get young people to move to their village, which is dying. And so they
What's it called?
Hold on. Give me some
Son of
I am the passenger.
Free Ubers.
And I ride and I ride.
I'm not talking about this.
No.
It's La Dolce Villa. La Dolce Villa. Yeah. There you go.
See, if you had a little confidence back in it, I think you could have sold it.
I get no confidence today. My whole day is I worked late last night. I got up late. I was just about the whole day I've been behind, and I have no confidence. So I have no today's show.
Why does that take your confidence of a show you watched last night? You guys watched?
No, we watched it Saturday night. Well, I'm just saying I have no confidence in myself and the day and anything. I don't feel prepared for the day, is what I mean.
Oh,
so that's what it is.
Do we need more Hoff then?
No, we're
you okay.
I mean, you want like an hour of Hoff and get myself prepared.
I'm sorry, I feel bad that you're not prepared. Like you feel like just because you got up a little late.
Well. Yeah, I had to work late to get a column up, and that so I slept in, and then
another Michigan State football column that would depress us.
The day is already moving. No, it was a column on Jace Richardson and Jaden Akins and where they rank sort of among the all-time greats.
I see, stirring it up.
Well, we'll get into this.
Go ahead. I got nothing else.
You got no hot takes. That's it. Well, that wasn't my first hot take, but I'll give it to you anyway. I mean, it was a fun exercise. I always enjoy that, trying to, and it's not always easy, take players as they go through MSU's program and insert them into this top 50 that I created, 11 years ago now. And
the Couch 50.
The Couch. Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
And, guys have moved in and out even since it started, because there have been a lot of really good players who have come through, and you don't have to be an all-time great to be in the top 50, although it's getting better and better. But, it's difficult with a guy who had just a brilliant 15 games, who was that efficient, that impactful on a season that meant that much to a lot of people. And I think where you rate Jace Richardson partly is determined by how you view this season. How important? Like, you can argue this Big Ten championship for MSU was as big as any since Tom Izzo's first, just because it looked like something was lost that wasn't going to be gotten back, and he was the catalyst behind that, right? I mean, his February and
winning it by 3 complete games.
3 games.
And there's like 29 teams in the Big Ten now, so yeah.
You get to the Elite Eight, all that stuff. Yeah, and so where does he go? I mean, Marcus Taylor had a brilliant February all those years ago, and they were a game short of the Big Ten title, but that was a different Big Ten. And, Travis Trice had an unbelievable finish, right? But then again, I would take Jace Richardson over either one of those players. And so if you're just talking about like who you would take in a pickup game, or if you're picking a 5, Jace Richardson's even higher up the list. But then there are guys who have done a lot for the program and had huge impact. And I settled on him at 44, right behind Shannon Brown in the 40s. You can read that at lsj.com. Akins did not – I would have put Akins somewhere in the 50s as I looked at it. He did not quite make the top 50. I had him behind Trice. And behind
is Marcus Taylor on the list?
Bryn Forbes.
Or you were just giving him?
He was on
example?
the original. He was 50 originally, and so now he'd be 50, 59, or 60 or whatever. He'd be down the list now because there have been more guys who've come in over the last decade. But yeah, he was originally there, and I mean he had the unfortunate, you could argue, great February of his sophomore year, which is why he left for the pros, where he led the Big Ten in assists and scoring, and led him to the NCAA tournament. And if Lucas Johnson from Illinois does not fall on his head with his ass, he would have missed the game against Northwestern. Michigan State would have won that game, and Michigan State would have gotten a share of the Big Ten title with their 5th straight. So, I mean, it was unfortunate that, his legacy, even in that standpoint, would have been a little bit better if he just hadn't had Lucas Johnson's ass fall on his head that 2002 season.
Just the minor things that can just go either way.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any takes you want to get to?
Of course. We got to talk.
Buenos tardes. It is time for the Detroit Tigers Gambling Update with Gramanito Couch and Jason Need.
Quickly on the Lions draft, though, I just want to say, I know in Brad Holmes we trust. I'm just asking. Isaac Tesla. How do we say it? Tesla? Right. Just my question. I know that the Lions had him graded off the charts, and there's some other, draft nerds that had him, off the charts. But why do we have to trade? Did any other teams value him as much to trade up for him? That's all. That's the one question from the Brad Holmes draft, and Brad we trust. I'm just saying.
I would look at it this way. If I were a GM, especially if I was a GM that had some capital at this point and some it built up some equity, I would say, with the fan base.
Yeah.
If there is a guy that's going to bug you if you don't draft him, and you think somebody else, even one team's going to take him, you got to do it. If there's a guy you're like, this guy, I just have a feel like this guy, I really like him. It's worth
to trade up for, dude.
Yeah,
felt we had to trade up for him. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking. Yeah. These are all these Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell guys. I understand that. We got multiple guys with mullets. Everybody's from Georgia or LSU. I am ecstatic about it, but it's just you got to tiptoe when you sit there and try to judge any kind of pick whatsoever. A kid from Arkansas who barely played, Hillsdale. You're right. I mean, can the Lions fans have any questions at all about that pick or no? Can we just have to move on? Anyway, the Detroit Tigers, how great are they playing, huh? Is it fun now? Is it real?
I
think it's real, right? It was after the homestand and taking those 3 series.
Best record in American League.
But going on the road and run differential tied with the Yankees for the best run differential. And according to Jim Bowden from The Athletic, the Tigers are the only team with 4 starting pitchers who have pitched at least 20 innings and posted ERAs under 2.90. And Javi Baez raking 281. Now, what do we do with Javi Baez, Graham?
You just ride
as a fan.
You just ride.
I mean, come on.
Oh, as a fan?
Yeah.
How do you feel about
it? I'm indifferent. I'm trying to get better at it. Obviously, that he's taking his time at the plate, taking pitches that he should take, and not just the 3 cuts that he would of last year. So
healthiest thing you can do. Let bygones be bygones, right? Whatever you felt toward him, The man is clearly, I mean, he's making a lot of money, so he might as well perform. But what I mean is he is clearly buying into whatever they need him to do. He's clearly trying to take a little bit of a different approach at the plate. He's played a mean center field, which is fun to watch because it's incredible. Like, he's helping this team win. And right now that's all there is. Right. Like, I'm 100% okay with it.
But I can't root for Javi, though. I mean, I can sit there and look past things, go, all right, Javi, yeah, all right, man, good at bat. But after that, I mean, I'm just like,
but here's the thing. They're batting him late in the lineup. It's not like third anymore or anything like that. He's not top of the lineup. He's not leading off or anything like that. I mean, the guy is where he should be. And is he overpaid? Yeah, but it's a non-salary cap sport, and it's a weird sport where Tarek Skubal makes almost nothing because he hasn't played 47 years of Major League roster service
and every
at this point.
Skubal start should cost fucking Chris Illich $1 million.
Oh my God.
I mean, come on. Like, if you watch him pitch, if you're Chris and you're sitting in there eating your pizza and you're going like, I don't know, we should just sign him, right? Nah, we'll just keep waiting.
And the thing is, you bring up all the starters. The bullpen has been incredible too. Like, their staff is what makes it sustainable too. Is, and I think there are a couple guys who are decent fill-ins who are in Toledo. And so what I mean is, I think the Tigers their depth of pitching is even, because no season's perfect. Somebody's going to miss a month or something's going to go wrong, right? I think their depth of pitching is built to withstand a season and at a really, really high level. And, I think their depth of pitching is built to this is where I hate the baseball postseason, because I do think they're going to be a playoff team the way they're playing right now. But I want you to have that sort of depth of pitching in the postseason. Instead, it's like, we'll play a game on Sunday. 16 days later, you can start your number one again, and we'll play game 2.
That's the NBA playoffs. What are you talking about?
Yeah, either way, baseball should be.
When do they play again?
Baseball should be 6 games, 7 days in the playoffs. You just go. Depth, that should be the way it is.
They do it during the regular season. They barely take any time off. And the one weakness of the Tigers so far, right? So far in this season, not very good on the road. 2 games under 500 on the road. Now we're going on the road after this homestand. Astros, Angels, and Rockies. So I'm just sitting there going like, I don't want to get too Tony Dombrowski level excited, but then I see all of the run differential and all this thing. The one weakness is can't really do it on the road. And if they do it on the road, in this stretch of games, then I'm just like, oh my, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm being told I have to root for Javi Baez now, which is fine. I'm going to get there. It'll be okay.
And the thing is, the further they get away from 500, the best thing about the stretch they've just had, where they won 8 of 10 at home, or 8 of 10, is the further you get away from 500, the easier it is to withstand the 3-6 road trip that ultimately happens to every good team, right? And you're still well above 5. You can just deal with it. It just doesn't, you want to get so far out that a slide doesn't hurt you, or a bad stretch or a bad home game or whatever, a bad Skubal start, whatever it might be. You just don't. You want to get there. It's fun. It's impressive. All right, I've got an MSU sports, MSU football, MSU everything one. Like, it's interesting. Just we talk on this show about MSU basketball all the time, MSU football, transfers, whatever, and the state of things and angst and all that stuff.
Yeah, we don't have enough time for all of that.
I started to think this weekend, and maybe it was just the pure options kicking in on a nice Sunday afternoon.
A bowl of edibles.
Beautiful day. Got the lawn mowed for the first time, all that good stuff, But I started to think, like, if you're an MSU fan overall, I think you ought to feel pretty good these days.
Really?
Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't reach for the highest possibilities and want the best and worry when there are signs that that's not going to be there and all that. I'm not saying anybody should lower their hopes and dreams or even expectations. But if you look around you, you've got a men's basketball program that we just talked about, won a Big Ten title and made the Elite Eight, right? It's got a pretty decent core coming back. There's still work to be done on the roster, but, things are okay. You got a hockey team. They just won both the Big Ten regular season and tournament titles in back-to-back years. And obviously things didn't work out in the NCAA tournament, but they're coming back with a roster that's so loaded, it's like peak Ron Mason era, right? And it's happened in 3 years, really quickly. You've got some non-rev sports that are in really good shape that people are enjoying, be it women's soccer, be it women's basketball. It's a good situation, gymnastics, all that stuff. The overall health of the program is pretty decent. And you've got a football program with a second-year coach who I think has a pretty high floor. Now, I'm not telling you not to watch last football season and the Mel Tucker era before it and the end of the D'Antonio era and watch. Look, I know Michigan is what happens at Michigan and how well they're doing obviously intensifies these feelings, right? And the rest of the Big Ten is in college sports are changing. I get all this. I'm not telling you these feelings aren't real and everything that leads to them aren't real. I'm not telling you shouldn't feel a certain way. I'm not going to lecture you. This isn't going to be that. Not telling you what to feel. Yeah. Not doing that. You're getting enough of that these days. But I'm just saying that it's worth looking on the bright side. And, any coach that you brought, any football coach in this situation, and last year didn't go as well as maybe they hoped. But if you look at this offseason, they retained most of the key guys on the roster. They seem to feel pretty good about things. We'll find out. But there's nothing to be done until the games start. And all it would take is one good year. And the vibes totally shift. The vibes about everything. How you feel about the freaking stadium that's crumbling, all this, everything. All it would take is a little bit of competence and improvement and looking like you got a chance to belong and growth in the program. And there's no way to see that until the season starts anyway. And so I'm not saying, not to be skeptical. I'm not saying to trust anything completely there. But when you look at the overall big picture, and I understand football stirs everything to some degree, and it pays for everything, and it's a big deal, and the world is changing around, and I get all that. But, I think you have to, unless you just want to be a miserable prick, you have to, which maybe you do, which is fine, which is you're right as well.
Yeah.
It's worth just letting this play out for a minute there. And if you look around, everything else is pretty okay. And I don't, again, I'm not saying people shouldn't have angst. This show is built on angst. This show sucks. If Matt C's not on here lobbing grenades at Alan Haller, this show sucks. We need that. I get it. Yeah. But I'm just saying, I think things are better off overall than maybe.
So be patient, have angst.
No,
is that what you're saying?
I'm saying
you don't have anything nice to say. Take an edible.
No, I'm saying look around, and overall, it's pretty good right now. Yeah. You got one major sport you're a little concerned about, but you don't know where it's going. But there's, it's only year 2, and everything else is okay.
So the non-revenue sports are killing it.
Well, so is hockey and men's basketball. The two of your 3 revenue sports are killing it, right? Would you say no?
No, I would say. I just didn't know they generated revenue because all the talk is always it's just football. They generates the revenue.
Hockey you can break even. Hockey's considered a revenue sport. Men's basketball is obviously a revenue sport, and football. Those are your 3 real revenue sports. Women's basketball, maybe it gets there someday, but your 3 real, and it's sort of considered that. But that's not a program that's in a bad spot either. I'm not telling anybody how to feel, and I'm not telling anybody not to be concerned, and I'm not saying that you should be excited when the recruiting classes in football or the transfer portal isn't what Ohio State's doing or anything else. I'm not saying you shouldn't want for that. I'm just saying that it just doesn't do any good not to let it play out. The man's in year 2 of a 46-year contract. Let's see what happens. It's obviously a different deal than what he had at Oregon State.
Could the headline of one of your columns be "Here's how you should feel"?
I thought about doing.
That would be so great.
I thought about yesterday doing a 6-stepper. I used to do these columns. It was 6 steps from anxiety to happiness for the MSU sports fan. I did 7 or 8 of them. Late in the D'Antonio era, those were classics.
Are those in the LSJ vault? Can I see those for
you can still find some of
99 cents a month?
You can still find some of them.
Well, how do I find the? What do you mean? Do I have to search hard?
Well, pre-2014, I think I wrote some in 2000. The first one I ever wrote was that first year I was on the beat in 2012 when they weren't doing as well as before the Rose Bowl year.
So I can't go deep on the archives on LSJ.
Yeah,
I want to go back and read old Todd Schultz columns.
I can pull them. Yeah, no, it's stupid. We why
don't open it up? Let me read some old Rex Road shit.
Pre-2014, the system we used no longer is supported by our parent company, and so it just doesn't exist on the web. Keith Appling's high school career and career at MSU.
Did you guys not see technology coming, or is this all a shock to you guys?
Because it's something now that everything's not always in print, if the web is going to be where it's at, your job as a news organization is to support whatever is on the web today. You better be able to find 100 years from now somewhere. Now, it can be,
external hard drive.
It can be cataloged and somewhere so people can find it in archives, but it's got to be available. That's your responsibility. And like I look at, you can't find any of the stuff, the early web stuff when I was over at the Kalamazoo Gazette when it was on M Live from like 06, 07. That stuff doesn't exist. Like that, all these companies, like they need to get with that. You got to understand, 100 years from now, Jason's great-great-grandchildren, and they're coming still.
Yeah, they are.
They ought to be able to find the Keith Appling stories from his playing days, not just the trials and stuff. So anyway, that is one of my takes. Before we get to yours, most entertaining thing I saw this weekend. You bring up the Tigers. All right, 3 things most entertaining. Most entertaining thing that I saw this weekend, presented by Xfinity and Comcast, all watched on Xfinity Comcast, by the way. Liverpool winning the Premier League title, beating up on Tottenham. Ton of fun to watch that game and to watch that celebration, how much it meant. The Mel Kiper meltdown and the NFL draft, which was epic. I mean, it was unbelievable how angry he was about Shedeur Sanders and his jaw. And as he gets older, his jaw doesn't look as good anymore, so it's not a good look.
Jaw. What about his hairdo?
We'll
get amazing.
We'll get into some of that more in the takes. And then Tarek Skubal dominating the Tigers, going to 18-10. So all of that through Xfinity. That's Peacock with the Liverpool match. That's FanDuel TV with the Tarek Skubal and the Tigers. And that's ESPN with Mel Kiper and the Meltdown. All available through one package with Xfinity and Comcast. And Xfinity Comcast is also upping its game on no contract options for sports and connectivity. So if you don't want a contract, they've got a new sports and TV package available for Xfinity customers featuring 50-plus broadcast news and sports channels, including top sporting events from, every league and all that stuff, all in one place. And it's available for $70 a month combined with Xfinity Internet, the broadband network built for streaming and live sports. No contract or commitment required. You can also check out Now Mobile, a new prepaid service that includes unlimited 5G data combined with access to more than 23 million Wi-Fi hotspots and now internet backed by the most reliable Xfinity network. One of the cool things about Xfinity Mobile, by the way, same service as Verizon, far better pricing. A little bit of a secret there. So if you want quality service and a reliable network at a better rate, check out Xfinity Mobile today. That is the most entertaining thing I saw this weekend presented by Xfinity Mobile.
I have one more thing. Do you remember a time where you let your father down so bad, like when you were in high school or middle school? Because if you don't, I'll give you some time, because
I do.
Over the weekend, Shedeur Sanders, we spoke of Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur got prank called. By the way, he was live streaming like everything. He was on live everywhere. And Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich admitted to a prank call made by Shedeur Sanders during the NFL draft. His son, Jax Ulbrich, was apparently the culprit. Now, he wasn't the one that is speaking. If you've heard the prank call, he's not the voice that you hear talking to Shedeur, but he's the one that grabbed the number for Shedeur Sanders because it was a private number, and that's why Shedeur was kind of shocked that he even got pranked. But so Jax ended up taking this number. I don't know if he gave it to someone else to try to, I didn't know the prank behind it. When you're 21 years old, is that a little bit too old to be doing that stuff? But I can't imagine if you're the dad, if you're Jeff Ulbrich, and all of a sudden your son is stealing numbers and he does this kind of prank for Shedeur. I mean, my God, my father, I can't imagine. My dad's probably got a March Madness bracket of things that disappointed him, but that's got to be high up there. How do you even look at your kid, right?
Yeah, worst part is he's wearing an Ole Miss shirt, so he fits into all the old stereotypes, and going after Shedeur Sanders.
Here we go.
But anyway, it's awful. It's an awful thing to do. It's a douche thing to do. I'm not saying 21-year-olds are often douches. You were a douche 21-year-old.
Yeah, you just ask some douche 31-year-old.
Yeah, ask some of the strippers. They know. They remember. But
it's probably pretty nice to strippers, to be honest.
All right, I'm trying to. Actually, it was a jerk move. And
right.
I mean, it's just
forgivable, but it's kind of like if you're his father, you're like, you motherfucker. Like,
and if you're gonna do it, don't post a picture of yourself. Don't like.
But you have to get the clout for it if you're gonna. What's the point of stealing it if you're not gonna try to get credit for it, right?
Yeah, it's not one you want credit for.
I mean, what did he think was gonna Jax? That is the 21-year-old. What did he think was gonna happen? That they were gonna do that prank call. Everybody was down on Shedeur, and then keep piling on Shedeur. And then you would be a hero in that scenario. I just think that only brought sympathy towards Shedeur.
It's not good because it's the type of thing that's going to follow your whole career. Now, your dad's an NFL coordinator, so maybe you're going to be okay. But like,
how do you talk to your dad? Like, how long?
All right, well, so let me,
you back off and go.
What is the
talk to dad?
You talk about disappoint. Is there a moment you can think of where you disappointed your dad to that level?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I took his ATM card once. Like he for some reason one day when I was 15, 16, he gave me his ATM card and told me to run up and get him some cash. And I was like, all right, yeah, absolutely. He gave me his PIN code and I came back and brought him cash. Well, at the time, he would give me like $3-4 a day, which in 95, 96, for lunch and other incidentals and stuff. So I was like, man, I'd really like to, I had other dreams. I wanted to go buy CDs and shoes and other things. And I didn't really have disposable income. So I ended up going, like, I took my dad's ATM card without him knowing and took out some money. And I just remember, because it was like right around when Princess Di died. Was that right? Or maybe that was another time I took money from him. Anyway, but I could just tell, because we had to have the sit down at the table at our place, and it was my stepmom. He was married to he was kind of like Bill Belichick, but without the 70-year age difference. But I had a younger stepmom, and we were all sitting at the table, and I just remember how disappointed, like, it was like he couldn't trust me from there on out, because he gave me his card, because it was just kind of an errand for me to run, back in 95.
Disappointment was always far worse than anger.
Oh yeah,
and I remember about the same time, basically 1994, I'd say freshman year at Sexton High School. I had a buddy who I used to skip school with, skip early morning classes especially, and we'd go up to St. Lawrence Hospital and eat breakfast in the cafeteria. We'd walk up there. We didn't have a driver's license or anything yet, and we could walk to school. So we would leave at the normal time, but my dad didn't leave for work till close to 9 o'clock. So we had to kill an hour before we could go chill at one of our houses or be safe walking around the neighborhood. So we're walking back from St. Lawrence after having our nice breakfast in the cafeteria there among all the patients. And we're on the back side of the block I grew up on. We're on Jennison. And my dad, downtown is the other way. So I just figured we were safe walking on that block, figuring it's about the time my dad would leave for work. We cut it a little close. Anyway, he took a different route. Apparently, he was taking a different route. He was coming up to Jennison and cutting over. And about 30 feet, maybe 40 feet in front of me, I see his car pull up at the corner. I immediately dove behind a car nearby. And my buddy Mike just stood there with a blank face. My dad he saw me too, apparently. I didn't know it at the time. He sees Mike. He turns that way instead. He comes, talks to Mike. He says, aren't you supposed to be in school? And Mike did not cover well. He was like, well, I was sick. I went up to the hospital to call my mom, which makes no sense. I mean, his house is like a block and a half away. Like, there's just no.
I feel Mike. I know. That's what I would have done too.
No logic.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I've been seen for sure. I mean, I know Mike's story is suspect. He covered for me as best he could. So we go, we hang out, we do our skip day or skipped as much as we wanted. And we have dinner that night. Nobody said a word. I'm thinking, I might have got away with this. Yeah. Dad calls me out on the porch, like 8 o'clock. Just says, Graham, just want you to know, you ruined my whole day. That was all he said, and he walked away.
Damn.
I would have rather he punched me in the face than ruin his whole day. The disappointment that he felt, and I could feel the lack of trust. If you can't trust, you got a truancy issue brewing here. You can't trust your son, and you're ruining his day. And like just the way he looked at me, to this day,
your friend Mike sucks at covering for you.
Sucks, Mike. Come on, man. Like I needed more than that.
Mike was not ready.
The worst part was at one point that year, they looked at our attendance next to each other, and we had the exact same absences in the exact same hours, and we got in a little bit of trouble.
Wow, way to crack that case.
Yeah, it was not.
You mean two friends actually skip school together? What are you supposed to skip school by yourself or table for one?
Yeah. Thank you. I could have used you in the argument. That is a story almost worth telling, I should say. Presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing. Great place for trivia on Tuesday nights, a date on the weekend. You want to watch the Tigers? They've got it. They're on the big screen. They've got it at the bar. It's a great place to just set up shop and enjoy an American stout and an unbelievable meal. It is a great date night. I'm telling you, if you take your significant other there, they will, and not just enjoy the menu, they'll enjoy the vibe, and they'll know you put some effort into what you were thinking for your evening out.
Not talking about this.
No.
Do you have anything else?
No.
All right. You want to dig into these listener takes?
Let's do it. Eric Schultz up first, of course. One of my favorite things Couch does is when he says something massive and then just moves on as if he was talking about the nice weather outside. Case in point, on Friday's show, Graham drops that he thinks there's a 55 to 60% chance MSU gets a headliner transfer. Huh? What? You think near 50-50 that MSU rolls into next year with Kerr Tang or Trey Fort in the starting lineup? Are you effing serious? Off a Big Ten title season with Tom effing Izzo when there's apparently real NIL available. What are you talking about? Holy crap. Sound every alarm if that happens. And bonus, Graham talking about how one of his 3 treadmills is leaking lube as an all-timer.
I had to get rid of 2 of those treadmills this weekend. There was a Recycle-Rama down on the south side of Lansing. I had to drop them off.
God.
Yeah, the lube stained our deck, actually, in the back. My wife is not happy. Yeah, anyway. But lube is harder to get off concrete than you would think. Yeah, well.
How much lube you dropping on concrete?
Apparently, I over-lubed the treadmill, and it just leaked out, and it's like an oil stain now, and you were trying baking soda and all sorts of stuff, but I screwed it up. I apologize, Eric, for dropping that. I didn't think it was.
Happens a lot on the show. I think.
Does it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think MSU adds somebody, and we'll see how quickly it happens here. I understand what you're saying. I just don't want to say it's going to happen because there are guys they can be in on and miss out on, and they could wind up going into next year. They're going to wind up with some other guard. They're going to wind up with some other guard. But we're talking about a headliner, a guy that would excite the fan base, that would truly be like, "Whoa, that's a guy." Like, the chances of that's what I'm saying, are 55 to 60%. They're going to add another piece. There's no question about that. They just don't have the point guard right now, period. The ball handling, they're in trouble. But they could miss out. And, I do think they will add somebody. But one of my favorite things about Eric is he will call me out of my shit.
MZA next. Izzo and company looks to target some international players for next year.
So, my basic take on this is they should always have an international center. And when this was brought to Izzo's attention after the season, that I thought this.
He's a bull in a china closet.
Izzo thinks there's a downside of the lack of toughness a little bit. I think you got to have those other players, but I think the skill is worth it. And the MSU women's program invests in that. I think you're going to see more players coming from over there. And
but don't the Euro guys start playing when they're like 12 professionally? Like, how is that?
Yeah, but you got 22-year-olds now coming over here who have already played professionally, and they can now come over and play in the U.S. It's easier to find those guys now. And it's sort of like hockey in some degree, where if they're over there and they're good but they're not great and they're not moving up the ladder enough, they may want to come to the college game now that the college game pays. So I think that would be a no-brainer for MSU. I just don't know if it'll happen.
Josh L. next. College teams should not be allowed to bring in EuroLeague pros. Illinois signing a 22-year-old is unethical. I don't care if Izzo is bringing in Matas Stugatis and Varikas Duranis. Sorry, Jason, needed to hear you pronounce these Lithuanian names.
So I put it early in the show.
Sarunas Marshallonis.
By the way, and people in college basketball are just outraged by the age of these freshmen and players. But they've been doing this in hockey for, 30, 40 years, and nobody's been saying boo. So, this is just a new way a little bit. Where was the outrage over the hockey guys? Like, there are hockey players that come in as 22-year-old, 21-year-old freshmen all the time. There are guys who have been playing, and, their odds of making it run out somewhere else. And I understand in terms of professional leagues and stuff, there may be something to look at overseas in terms of playing in the top leagues and all that. But this has happened in other sports. I get that it's weird. I think there is a point in college athletics where it's a little unfair. But there have been JUCO guys who got late starts who were 25 doing this before. And I don't know. I think there are bigger issues in college athletics than this part of it. And we need to figure out those and be outraged about that.
DMB next. $3K for 6 season tickets for MSU football. Includes seat backs, scholarship seat fee, and 2 parking passes. I threaten to give them up each year, yet here I am. Couch, can you help talk me off the ledge? Buyer's remorse hitting hard today. And bonus, checked out Groovy Donuts finally a few weeks back. Elite donut. Already made my annual trip to Front 43 and Cask & Company last fall. Midtown Brewing is on the list. Bring back the gift cards, you cowards.
That's right. We used to do like a hot take of the day with the, yeah.
Can bring that back down.
Well, we have to make sure we procure enough gift cards. Yeah. But we could do something like that. It might be worth doing. We'll see if we can partner that with somebody.
$3K seems about right though for 6 season tickets.
Yeah, that doesn't
for a
seem bad
season.
at all. That doesn't seem bad at all. It's like $500. Yeah, that's not
right.
bad. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, you have 6 of them. Can't you? I mean, if the team ends up being good, you could sell a couple.
So you're looking at what's that, like $85 a ticket, something like that? I'm probably doing the math horribly there, but
sounds right to me.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot, and I understand though. It's still it's a fair bit of money, and not everybody has the income to do that. It's great that you're able to do that.
Maybe get 2.
Here's what I would say: if they win this year, if it looks like fun, you'll regret not being there. If you enjoy this, if this is something you've enjoyed for a long time,
but if it sucks,
well, yeah. But the thing about sports fans is, other than Matt C, we tend to be like the internal optimist, right? It's always waiting for next year. It's always the hope. I mean, that's what brings people back.
Matt C was paying $3K. Oh shit.
Oh boy.
Be on fire. Matty B next. Number 1, Coach Jonathan Smith needs to win over the fan base this year. It's obvious that hasn't happened. If it looks the same as it did last year, this could go south quickly, fair or not. And 2, Mel Kiper is a penis. That was embarrassing. Matthew Perry is even a bigger penis, whining about the prank call. The prank was lame, but when you give out trash talk, you need to take it. No one got hurt. Move on. Matthew Perry is an extreme penis, yeah.
Yeah.
He is. It's just the way he goes about. I think he's a really nice guy and stuff like that, but
it's just his approach, his tact. Yeah.
I just think, he gets himself in those scenarios where you're going like, Matthew Perry, Jesus. Like, what are you talking about?
So I do think this is an important year for Jonathan Smith and just for the fan base to see something look like growth. I 100% agree on that. But I do want to, like, the idea that, like, that's the thought you're having right now. Like, this has to happen this year. Like it's almost this negative, got to win it over this year now. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But I think there's a decent chance there is some real improvement. And if there's not, or if, then we'll deal with that when we get to that. But yeah, no, this is a year where they need. I think, you need people to believe in you, and that's, that's part of getting fans in the stands, and that's part of, you don't want to lose a fan base if you're a coach, and if you have 2 bad years, even if some of what you're taking over is the reason for that, it can be hard to recover and hard to recruit and hard to build momentum. What MSU football really needs is momentum. And I think they've had an okay offseason in terms of stemming, sort of losing any more, or things going really south in terms of number of transfers or top guys. And they've managed to keep their best offensive linemen. They've recruited well there. They've paid those guys. They have. And, they've obviously paid Nick Marsh. They've got, a quarterback that has upside. So they've done a good job of creating what I think could be an interesting team. But now they've got to build the faith. They've got to build the confidence.
This is going to be the longest summer of all time, I believe. Matt C. next. Number 1, Graham, revenue sharing cannot stop players from getting NIL deals, so it changes nothing except the fans won't have to pay all of their salaries. Until they collectively bargain, nothing changes. This won't happen until people stop caring, which is decades away. And to date, it appears Jonathan Smith couldn't recruit strippers with $100 bills. So either he better be the best talent developer of all time, or this isn't going to end well. But, hey, at least he won't be caught in a hotel room at 2 a.m. with a bottle of Jergens or treadmill lube on concrete.
Yeah, right.
Scary.
Same deal.
Yeah.
Okay, to the first part here with the NIL deals. Here's what could change, and I don't know 100% what it's going to look like. But part of this House settlement is all these schools signing into it. And part of this deal is that there is going to be a clearinghouse for NIL outside of the rev share. So that stuff is supposed to be more market-based. It's not supposed to be collective-based. It's supposed to be, you can't, like, sign 3 autographs and get $10 million. It's got to be more to scale than that. And we'll see how well it's enforced. We'll see what it looks like. We'll see who follows it and who doesn't and all that stuff. But it is going to change. I do believe it will change to some degree. And I do believe there will be places that make an effort to, and now there will be some under-the-table stuff. The big programs are not going to let themselves not have advantages. And so it's how you create those advantages and what you can do with more legitimate-looking NIL and all that stuff. But I don't know what I do think there will be some changes in how NIL looks. I do. I think the rev share will fix some of that, not all of it. But the schools, you have to remember, it's not just about the athletes, because you're right, they aren't signing on to this. If you're 16 years old, you have a voice in this, and that's where the lawsuits are going to be when those kids especially start getting into it. But if you are a school, you are signing on to this. So that you're supposed to be holding up your end of it.
Suburban Spartan Dad, I say this as a former Hope College football player. The fact that MSU is turning to Hope College guys in the portal to fill key spots like defensive end is less than ideal.
It was a walk-on. I mean, it's a good story. It's a cool story, and it got out because we don't. But years ago, there wouldn't even been a story about it. We didn't publicize walk-ons. Another, I guess, fewer roster spots, and he is a guy who has an interesting background, who I think is why they're curious about him. This is not somebody who's being counted on. He's not. This is a walk-on position, so I think that's the important thing to remember. I mean, think about all the other walk. I mean, for a walk-on, he seems pretty intriguing to me. But remember, he's a walk-on. This is a try-hard, and that's different than the guys you're counting on. Now, if you want to tell me defensive end and defensive tackle is a position of concern, I think that is probably the area that, in terms of pass rush, and that I would be most concerned about with this roster. But that doesn't mean that they're counting on this guy.
John Naughty next. I love my school, but we got this stadium renovation backwards. First, you spend all that renovation money fielding a national contender, NIL. Then you use all the millions flying in from tickets, TV, merch, and whatever to facelift Spartan Stadium. Nobody cares about renovations if the team sucks, and nobody cares if the stadium sucks if Sparty wins every week. Go Green.
Winning fixes everything. Nobody was talking about this stadium as a real issue till lately, and they've been doing some renovations on it. Now, I'm not saying the stadium experience and renovations don't need to happen. They do. But winning fixes everything. If the team's winning and people are happy, you can deal with a lot of stuff, right? You deal with an old stadium that needs a facelift, and you're more patient with that if you don't have to be patient with the winning. I totally agree with this. And that, this is an interesting point, though, the idea that you pump it all into NIL, and the real thing is, though, you do have this cap with the rev share. So they're going to be up to the cap. They're going to put a ton into football. You're looking at, I think it's going to be in the $15 million range. And so if you're looking at that, $15 million there,
$15.9 mil?
I don't know what.
Like, how are we talking? A little higher?
Well, it's 20.5 is the cap, and then you've got, maybe 3.5 to basketball, and you've got
about
some other stuff.
Give them 3.
Yeah, I mean, the idea, it's going to be very interesting to see how schools spend this and what their priorities are and what comes in from outside when this all gets approved here, and I think it still will in the next week or so.
I am never going to financially recover from this.
Gorjo next. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, reading all the negativity about MSU football. Last spring, there was an exodus of high-profile players at critical positions. This year, we've mostly retained all key players and added a lot of smart depth pieces and made smart new staff hires. And from Spartan 18770, I don't understand the hate that some of our fan base has for Jonathan Smith right now. With the most recent transfer portal commitment, I feel MSU is in prime position to win the MAC this year.
Yeah, well stated. No, I do think there is. People have time on their hands and time to think about the state of things, and people look at what's happening around them. There's uneasiness because there's uncertainty, and the program hasn't been really relevant in a while, and their rivals are relevant. I mean, think about it. When Michigan State was dominant a decade ago, really winning things, Michigan sucked. Notre Dame was up and down. But now you've got, if you look at your Big Ten rivals, Ohio State's coming off a national title. Michigan won one a year earlier. And Notre Dame was just in the playoff as well. Like it's like everybody around you within a 3-hour radius is all suddenly really, really good, and their programs look competent. And that again is how everybody measures themselves. So I get it's a natural feeling to feel that way, and there is uneasiness. There are things that have to be proven. I can't guarantee you this stuff's going to work, and I think it just doesn't help you to sit there and be uneasy. And I don't think there are red flags to the point that it can't work. Like, if there were, I would say it. If I thought the Jonathan Smith era could not work, or Michigan State's administration couldn't, compete financially, I would say it. I don't think either of those are the case. Do I think they'll ever be the top dollar of things? No. But I don't think those things are the case. It's up to them to make it work and to have the right people in place and the right organization and to recruit and retain and pay talent and develop. And that they've got to do it. But I don't think there's anything right now that's a complete red flag that says this can't happen at Michigan State after 1 year of Jonathan Smith and heading into this new era of college football.
Next one from Spartan, just loaded up on toilet paper this weekend. Can't wait to sell it on eBay for $50 a roll. Who says tariffs is all bad?
Yeah,
isn't it weird that people freak out over TP though? That's like the first thing they like panic about. Well, it's not a concern for me. Like it's one of the last things. But I use wipes and I would just hop in the shower if it came down to $50 a roll TP on eBay.
So what are the things that go off the shelves first? Is toilet paper, milk, eggs, or whatever? Milk?
Oh, eggs, yeah.
Yeah. Soup? I would panic about soup. If I lost
all the 4 food groups, yeah.
The split pea soup was missing, I'd be like, what the fuck? It is funny. During the pandemic, I do remember I was doing the shopping for my wife and I and for my mother. And so, this is like heart of it when I'm going in, like I look like I'm in a hazmat suit, trying to get through the Meijer aisle when they got like arrows pointing one way or the other.
Not talking about this.
And I remember at one point, early on, the shelves were a little bare. And the soup aisle, the only thing that was left untouched was 40 or 50 cans of split pea soup. And I was like, yes, I will survive any pandemic. This is all I need. It was
you just sat down in the aisle with a spoon.
Yeah. If you want something better than split pea soup, though, that was a story we're telling presented by Midtown Brewing Company. They will give you a meal that you'll actually appreciate, be it comfort food or something a little lighter. Just a terrific menu. Midtown Brewing Company, downtown Lansing.
Original Dark Mantonio next. MSU fans under 35 years old got entitled under D'Antonio, thinking that they're supposed to win 3 out of every 4 versus Michigan, when in all actuality, it was an awesome decade-long anomaly in the rivalry, akin to Biggie Munn's tenure in the late 40s and early 50s. And bonus, it can be sudden and startling when an all-time great begins to decline. Maybe this is the case for Novak Djokovic.
Yeah, well, Djokovic, I still think he's in the stage where he can have a tournament or a match. Like I've seen him look great in moments. He's just not going to be week in and week out like it used to be. Yeah, I mean, look, I do think there was a golden age of MSU football under D'Antonio that does set an expectation or show you what's possible, and people want that again. They long for it again. And it's going to be hard to duplicate. It really is. There were dynamics that were different in terms of where Michigan was and the size of the Big Ten and all that. And I don't think Michigan State fans, for the most part, need that, though. What they need is the program to be consistently relevant. What they need the program to be is, hitting 8 wins kind of as your every year floor. And if you're doing that, because 8 wins is going to start getting teams maybe in the playoff, but you're 9 a lot of years. You have some years, every few years, where you're really competing for a title. Like you're just relevant. Every year you have a chance. Every year you're playing meaningful games in November. Every year, there's hope. And it feels like the program's in a steady place. And in every few years, you think you got a team you can actually take a swing with where it comes together. That's what I think they want. And, the anomaly with the rivalry, nothing's guaranteed for Michigan. A lot of the rivalry everything's a new era, and from 70 whatever to the early 2000s when Michigan won like 30 of 38 games against Michigan State. There was things that were different at times there in terms of scholarship numbers and consistency of coaches. Michigan can screw this up again. I don't know that they will. I don't know what will come with Sherrone Moore. I don't know how good he'll be, but I don't think Michigan State, even through some coaching changes, and Mel Tucker was 2-1 against Michigan. I don't think the rivalry itself is destined to necessarily be lopsided, but Michigan State's got to, we got to get its shit together and make sure.
We don't have enough time for all of that.
It's a consistent program.
Eric Larson, best part of the transfer portal is it ends Graham's insistence on windows for college teams. No more 2-year windows.
So the idea that this is a 2-year group, but some of that sucks. The idea that you can't build something. The idea that if it's not like that happened to Illinois last year with the team that it was like. As soon as that team started to fall apart, there was no more investment in those guys because a lot of those guys are going to be gone, and it was just, that's over, right? That part of things sucks. I think you want to believe you want to be able to grow with a group. I think that part of college sports, losing that sucks. And I think that's one of the cool things that still exists to some degree at MSU, right? We'll see how long it lasts. We'll see if they can create that stability in football and basketball. They've had quite a bit of it. You're able to grow with Cohen Carr. You're able to enjoy Cohen Carr one year to the next because he keeps coming back. Jackson Kohler, one year to the next, keeps coming back. Jeremy Fear, like when you get guys who keep coming back, that's, you're right, though, on the 2-year group idea. It is harder to picture that because you can't anticipate what's coming.
Rocco in Chicago next. All baked takes. Number 1, Bryce Underwood interviewed on FanDuel Detroit during the Tigers game is ass for half of its fan base. And 2, it just feels nice to have a competitive baseball team again. Got to give Harris credit for getting the Tigers to this level. And 3, why has nobody asked Harbaugh or Ward Manuel about Matt Weiss coaching in the 2022 Fiesta Bowl?
I mean, he's
welcome to the blue wall.
A ton of shit, and that's being covered pretty thoroughly right now. I don't know what the answer is to that, but
not by the LSJ.
Yeah, not by us. No, we have not. No, we've
been waiting for it.
Yeah, sorry.
Logged in today.
I think Scott Harris. You talk about reputations that are turning. I was skeptical of Scott Harris for a while. I didn't like his
because he was a nerd. You don't like nerds?
No. It was just he seemed standoffish for a while, and then I saw him with his wife and baby on a plane, and I thought, these guys look like good,
and he
wholesome
looked through
Americans.
You?
Yeah, no, he looked right at me. It was great.
I like how Couch has to actually see the guy in person to get a vibe.
I asked to hold his baby, too, which was weird, but once we got through that, because me and holding babies on planes, yeah.
So you thought he was standoffish without meeting him? Is that what you're saying?
That was
your first judgment?
He was just, he didn't explain things well. He wasn't open to, like
have you seen the owner by chance? Like,
he's a bigger problem, no doubt. But I give Sky Harris a ton of credit. I mean, they've obviously they know what they're doing.
Alex Mayer next. Number 1, if the Knicks were from a smaller media market and not New York, the calls and the results of this series would be very different. And 2, the Tigers still won't be buyers at the deadline. And 3, hot. Until he gives me reason not to, I have trust in Brad Holmes' ability to draft. But right now, today, that draft was ass.
Did you leave that draft feeling like
no?
Yeah,
no.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't even know if we have the ability to say that after a Brad Holmes, a full draft, a couple days after the draft. We can say that it was ass.
Yeah,
I mean, what would you do differently? I get it, but like the whole thing was ass. There wasn't. I can understand maybe the pick, the wide receiver, Tesla.
But after what they did with Amaran, like how you.
No, there's no problem.
Yeah, I mean, and I remember with him even thinking like he looked. Fourth round pick. I remember watching him. I made the Greg Jennings comparison on this show. I think. I mean, I thought he was going to be really good, and he's better than Jennings probably.
Well, then the stories come out. Amon Ra. Then you hear about his dad, his work ethic, and all of these things. Maybe we hear the same about this kid. But Did we talk about the Pistons and how the NBA refs are ass and how the NBA game blows?
We've got a bunch of these coming up.
Oh, yeah. It's like Jesus, Thomas. Broadcasters need to stop scheduling multiple sports from a single city at the same time. I want to watch both the Tigers and Pistons, but not all of us have the funds or space for a second screen.
I do think at some point for the Pistons, the Tigers had 28,000 people there, and I know Scubo is pitching, and it's a beautiful Sunday, and I get it. But the Tigers won't have recovered the fan base. You're playing a playoff game against the Knicks in late April. The Tigers ought to have 7 people there total, and they ought to be family members because that's where this is April. Like you shouldn't be missing the.
Yeah, but the NBA blows, and no one wants to go to that shit.
NBA ratings have been incredible in the playoffs. Yeah. But I do understand it does suck.
I just feel if it's something I can do, everybody can do it. If you can get 2 TVs and you want to complain about the space you have and how much. I mean, you can get a second TV for $100.
It does seem.
What are we talking about?
It seems inconsiderate because the playoffs are not something that is scheduled way ahead of time. I understand.
How is it inconsiderate?
Just
in 2025.
Because maybe people want to go to both games. You could do a situation where put the game on at
and cut yourself in half. How would you go to 2 games at the same time? Even if they're going to sit there and do it at 6 o'clock at night, like
you could have a different. You can go to 2 games if they're at different times. What is this?
It's just, no, you can't. You make it sound so easy. Like you just go to Comerica and then just hop fucking right over to LCA without you can't go home, take a shit, or like shower or anything. I mean, there's no time involved. You just transfer yourself over to that place. And you're like, oh, okay, let's go to LCA now.
Highway. It's just a highway.
Another $400. Complain. This guy can't even get a second TV. He's going to go to 2 different games.
Get a zip line. Go from one stadium to the other.
No, there you go. David Jackson, hot take. You know where your priorities are when an April win by Scooball is more important than a Pistons playoff game.
I don't like it.
Bonus, Mark Wilson was what made Channel 10 Sports great back in the day, not Tim Stout. Baked, what's the point of a second take when you know the important first take is the only one that will actually get a response?
Absolutely. You hearing that, David?
Yeah.
Okay,
you go.
Okay, Mark Wilson. I don't even do I know why do I
Dude,
not know
that
that
is
name?
like before me. That's David going way back.
Okay.
That is like mid 90s Mark Wilson.
No, it's way before mid 90s.
No.
Really?
It was mid. Mark Wilson was there.
Was it in
93,
sports?
94, 95. Yeah. He was the sports director, I think, before Old Dean, I believe. Because wasn't Tim Stout at Channel 6?
No. Stout was always at Channel 10.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. I don't think so.
No?
I think that he started at Channel. Like, come on, man. This is like 75 years ago. Where, you know.
I think you're way off here. I do.
You think I'm way off?
Yeah.
You think I'm way off? Okay.
Yeah.
I worked with a guy at Channel 10. I worked with him in radio. I'm pretty sure that you worked at Channel 6 first, went over there. But Mark Wilson was the sports director, I think, when Stout came over. I don't know.
Okay. David,
I don't know the WILX.
David, we need more intel because
I would trust David.
Please, no, I trust him completely on this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Professor, on the final, I like how I'm way off, even though you don't know. You have no idea.
Correct.
You have zero idea, right?
Yeah.
And then you tell me that I'm way off, which is understandable because I'm all way off. I don't have a good memory. I get that. But it makes me laugh that I'm way off. Yeah.
I just remember Stout. My memories of Stout were like in the early 90s were Channel 10.
Yeah.
And so I don't think he was. I think he was already. I don't know if he
might have been. I don't know. Maybe 80s or whatever.
Yeah.
He's been doing it forever. He's still on the air. You can believe that?
But, yeah. Wasn't there a John Matlock or somebody like that?
John Matlock?
Wasn't he a Channel 6 sports guy before?
There was a John Matlock with the show Matlock when he would solve crimes, I think.
Else. Yeah. Maybe I don't know.
John Matlock. That's the name you got. A professor. On the final play, Cade stopping for a pull-up instead of driving to the rim was a blown opportunity. The Pistons have blown opportunities this whole series and should be up 3-1. And bonus, giving draft grades sooner than a minimum of 2 years after the draft is lame content.
That was a wide open shot, though.
It was a good shot.
It was a great shot. Yeah, I mean, you take that.
Kind of liked that shot a lot, actually.
Yeah. No, I
was like, damn, that was the right shot.
Yep.
I actually said that out loud, and I was depressed.
Yeah, I agree with you on draft grades. Well, here's the thing with draft grades. I'm okay with giving out draft grades right now if you want to do it.
Only Mel Kiper's I want to read.
But I do think 2 years from now, we should go back and grade the graders, and that should be very public every year. And every grader should, because like if we're going to be hard on the GMs like days after the draft when nobody knows anything, then let's grade the graders year after year, 2 years out.
David Zandy next. As a Piston and Spartan fan, I like Magic Johnson less than Sean Respert and the other greats. I obviously like Isaiah Thomas and the Bad Boys much, much more than Magic too. And bonus, the Knicks will never win a title as constructed. I'll enjoy watching them lose. Enjoy watching them lose to us every year going forward.
I do think he's right on this. I tweeted about this. If you would rather be the Pistons today, and we talked to James about this.
You tweeted that again?
Yeah,
Jesus.
Because I'm an ass. It's good therapy for me.
Are there people that respond to it that don't know the take? So I mean, I guess it's okay.
A few Knicks fans got on me. Yeah, because then I did the same thing under one of James's tweets. So just to really,
we heard you, asshole. Is that what someone said?
And no, but it is true that they got less flexibility, and I don't think they're quite. I mean, they could get lucky, like the Warriors in 2022, where enough things happen around them that they get to a finals, but they're not.
These guys got to stop flopping. I'm not even talking about Brunson. I mean, it goes just up and down the board.
Yeah,
the flopping's got to go.
And the one thing I would say for MSU fans who hate Brunson and all this stuff, remember that with Jeremy Fears Jr. though. Got to keep that same energy because there's a foul drawer right there. A lot of head throwing.
Yeah, but it's great when he does it.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
Duh. I mean, come on, Jared. The NBA is the worst product in game and out. What the fuck? Let me try again. Jared, next. The NBA is the worst product in game out the top sports league in pro and college.
I didn't edit that well.
All right, I just want to make sure. Very little teamwork and energy between players and coaches. If the teams don't hit threes like Curry, it's really awful to watch.
I think the playoffs have been pretty good. I think you watch like Jokic and the game between the Clippers and Nuggets was incredible. I mean, there's just I disagree, but to each their own. You know, I also love soccer, and I can't get this prick to watch it.
I'm the prick. I just say enjoy it. Just leave me out of it. Tyler, number one, would we have been better off just not starting to watch the NBA here? From little interest to late game disappointment and so much Knicks hate. 2, I have a couple of exactas from before the season. World Series, Tigers Cubs, and Tigers Padres. What do you say?
Those are good.
I say it's fucking April, man. Let's talk in like 2 months, Tyler. Let's do it.
But might as well. Yeah. No.
It looks great now. Yeah.
They don't look bad.
No, but I'm just saying it's April. That's all.
There's a great feeling when you have when you realize you have something you bet a long time ago coming. Like in the Champions League soccer, I have a good future on PSG and one on
Cockburn.
Hold on.
I got you.
One. Thank you.
The stars come out of the sky. Yeah, the bright and hollow sky.
Peacock.
You know it looks so good tonight.
Really good. Oh yeah, it's on Inter Milan. So Inter Milan and PSG.
Oh, thank God we got that.
But they're both in opposite semis. I could. One of them is just to reach the finals too. Oh, it's such a good feeling. I didn't even realize it till the other day. I was like, I made these back in like November. This is marvelous. Yeah.
Ben Chulik next. There probably should be more attention on Schroeder's poor decision at the end of the third versus the no call on the Tim Hardaway Jr. 3. Dennis, just lay it up, my man.
Yeah, the Pistons had lots of opportunities. It's just
can you get really mad at Schroeder and Tobias Harris playing big minutes? I mean, Jesus.
You also got to make the call there, and I understand that it's a physical game and all that stuff. But when the refs come out and tell you they screwed it up, you make the call.
Appreciate that apology, by the way. I mean, oh my God, I'll just stash that with all my Detroit Lion Monday fucking apologies.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean anything.
It's got to be the foul differential in the next game's got to be like 74-3. So that's the only way to come back from that.
Yeah, Mickey Patterson. See Jared Goff at the Pistons in flames. Need to get him in a muskox flannel.
Yeah, we're talking about Well, Jared Goff would be a good muskox guy. Good.
See Jared Goff at Pistons in flames.
I don't know what
in means. Flames. In fire? Did you just take the emoji and then just transfer it into what it actually is? Like, was there a flame?
Oh, seeing him as fire probably. Oh, yes. That's right. Screwed up.
I read these.
No, but I don't.
People are just Groob is it just.
I think it did say flames. I don't think I would have. I correct emojis all the time, and I'm careful about this. I edit this thing.
Noted emoji fixer. Trees next with high takes, apparently. Actual late Saturday night text. Why can't men put down the toilet seat when in a co-ed space? Come on, MFers, don't be dicks. Would you rather go to the NFL draft or Times Square on New Year's Eve, and do you incorporate adult diapers?
This is really good. This is the
and she actually had this Friday in the Twitter takes or whatever, and I left. I actually left it out. Couch is not responsible for this.
Right.
She had this question, and the best part is Bill Simmons had the same conversation on his. And then so I bring this to Couch. I go, T has a good hot take, and you squeeze it in. And he goes, what is it? And I go, Times Square or New Year's Eve, or Times Square on New Year's Eve or the NFL draft. T thinks we actually had the conversation. And he goes, did she listen to Bill Simmons' podcast? Which, by the way, just came out as we were recording our podcast. I'm like, first of all, the fact that you think she listens to Bill Simmons is great. But anyway, she had this take, and I forgot it, and I almost got divorced. So we talk about it now.
Absolutely. All right. I think it's good. I think this is a great conversation. We'll make this the muskox take of the day. It's this is strong. This is well done.
She wins a gift card. Congrats.
It stands alone, and it stands the test of time. It stood from a Friday to a Monday. Not many questions stand the test of like a muskox flannel. Go muskox.com, by the way, and fix it in post for $15 off your flannel purchase. Again, you may think that it's getting warm. This isn't flannel season. They also have really cool hats there. But I'm telling you, you're out by the lake, whatever it is, having a great flannel during the spring and summer months is just a fantastic way to look good, feel good, and always be prepared for any situation. Go to gomuskox.com. And again, fix it in post for $15 off your flannel purchase. What would you rather do, Jason? Would you rather be at
both look terrible.
Yeah.
I've never understood the NFL draft and standing there.
So when the NFL draft was in Detroit last year, you had no desire to go, right?
Absolutely 0.0.
Yeah.
I could never sit through a draft. I've never understood, especially if you have a late first round pick. I mean, first round. There's people there 4 through 7 rounds, sitting up there in front row and everything. They're shattering records in Green Bay. So I mean, listen, more power to you. I've never understood it, but Times Square New Year's Eve, because at least there's some NFL talk or so. Like you could do some sort of around the NFL draft to make it entertaining. Times Square, you're just sitting there for hours upon hours. There's absolutely no way. I mean, what do you get out of the Times Square on New Year's Eve? Like, what am I getting? I get to sit there. I get to sit in filth and people shitting next to you. Like,
I would rather go
watch Andy Cohen.
I'd rather go to the NFL draft than New Year's Eve.
Yeah,
because I feel like the New Year's Eve is even more of a sea of humanity, probably with fewer bathrooms. And you could at least do the first round. The first round of the NFL draft doesn't look horrific because at least there's the first pick, second, all those guys, right? I'm talking like the middle rounds. Like, what are you doing? If there are food vendors nearby and you're just hanging out, I guess it's okay. If it's kind of like a tailgate, I could deal with it. And for New Year's Eve to work, the only way I could ever see any enjoyment out of New Year's Eve in Times Square, it's got to be a situation where you are like with a significant, not even a significant other. You're with a woman that you haven't yet kissed, and you are creating the moment that gives you the opportunity to kiss at midnight and set the stage for everything you want. Like, it's got to be that sort of courting situation, something that she wants, and this sets up we're with each other. We're at midnight. We have to kiss. This is my
sounds like
in.
A Hallmark movie.
Correct. This is my in. So that would be the only way. Yet. But once you've already kissed, like, it's the worst place. Like, I can't even. I don't even understand it. In fact, it's probably a good way to weed people out of all sorts of decisions in this world. Like, do you enjoy New Year's Eve?
Yeah.
Okay, we're not going to hire you for this. Like, that seems ridiculous. That's not good decision making.
MCV next. MSU doesn't have a problem identifying, recruiting, and developing NFL talent, as it has a problem keeping it. And bonus, Mel Kiper needs to retire before he loses what little respect he has left. I don't even know. How many people respect Mel Kiper, though? Like, I mean from a level of looking at his mock drafts and you use them for something.
I've enjoyed his analysis over the years. This was over the top. If I were him, I would not retire now, though, because your reputation's in tatters. I would come back and do one level-headed year and then retire.
And then have Shedeur on your board again and just keep him there.
You just went over. You just went really overboard. Yeah.
Why would he retire over that? Why would he care at this point?
And MSU, in terms of recruiting, developing it, and has a problem keeping it. Yeah, they lost Eric Harmon, and they lost him to a significant NIL deal at Oregon, and but they haven't lost that many guys. They really haven't. Again, let's see if the program can get itself healthy here. Let's see if that continues to be an issue as we move into this new phase.
Kurt Wisniewski scam and gotcha calls to potential NFL players are not funny. That little Insta F boy deserves the paddle. And bonus, the Lions' edge draft pick from Boise will complement Aiden perfectly. He's got the it factor and a heart of a lion.
The video of him, I think he proposed to his girlfriend right after that too, but the video of him taking the call was pretty cool.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
It was I enjoy that stuff. That stuff never gets old. Look, to watch people have their dreams come true, the other side of the Shedeur Sanders story is the flip side of that. To watch people are truly grateful and emotional. It's like everything these people have worked for their whole lives.
Yeah.
And I think that's
you get to watch them in their environment or their house with like 75 people.
Never gets old. It's the best part of the NFL draft.
Yeah. Fart Soup, number 1, Seattle's KJR is easily the worst sports radio station in the country. Wow. 2, the Rube was behind the Shedeur Sanders prank call.
29-year-old Rube would have done that. Am I right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
God, I would have, yeah. I got to say, 5 years ago, Rube still drinking, I was a wild card. I probably would have I was in the mix.
So when we were doing the show even?
Oh, God, I think if I would have had the information and I would have been drinking at the time, I think I might have still
done it.
I think I would have still, yeah.
Yeah.
I need to hear this radio station, though. G. Quang next. The Browns quarterback situation is insane. 2 rookies, a Pro Bowler, and a well-seasoned vet. This can't be a recipe for success. Will make for excellent drama, though, to be in that locker room.
Well, yeah, they drafted the Dylan Gabriel from Oregon too. I mean, it's kind of a weird.
Did you see the draft room after they drafted Shedeur? Like, it didn't seem like anybody.
Yeah, it was not.
Like there's a lot of people like from the Ringer, Bill Simmons thing of saying like there's a lot of working parts. Like there's 5 different people making decisions. I think Kevin Clark from The Ringer. I think he's on The Ringer. But anyway, he said that. And I'm just sitting there going, like, how do you just sit there and fire Shedeur Sanders in that room? Here's Deshaun Watson. There you go.
Yeah.
Shedeur.
It's just weird. Now, I don't hate – it's so hard to hit on a quarterback. I don't hate the idea of drafting 2 after the first round later quarterbacks and hoping one of them – I don't hate that idea. I don't think it's the dumbest idea either. I don't know. It's just yeah.
Gotham softball mom next. The NFL draft has lost its magic since it's gone to the new format. I don't know for sure, but I bet the TV ratings are bigger and better than before. Let this be a warning to college football leaders.
The old format was better to me, Saturday, Sunday.
By far.
Yeah, not even close.
But you're right. The ratings are probably ridiculous and it'll never go back.
Because they got prime time 2 nights now. And that's different, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, just in terms of my enjoyment and the way I used to like the draft,
So the NFL's like, fuck your Saturday party. We don't care.
Yeah. I loved the old Saturday first rounds. It was great, yeah.
What a great time to be alive. Jebediah, nothing more ironic than the most scrutinized position in MSU football, producing their only NFL draft picks in the last 2 years. Bonus, nice to see the Pistons took the "we messed up, oh well" ref faux apology from the Lions' hands. I really hate that. I'd almost rather not hear their apology.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know they have a pool reporter with the referees afterwards and with the NBA. But what does that do? It doesn't do us any favors.
It doesn't fix anything. It's just some level of accountability, right? But it's like, well...
But I guess it makes you go, like when you argue, you go, well, the ref said it was a foul.
Put them on the free throw line. Anything in the final 5 seconds, just don't leave the court. Let's figure it out, I don't know.
Yeah. Spartan Johnny, number 1 couch. Every time you tell me there's no roster you'd rather have than the Lions for the next 2 years, you might be right. But also, I know you haven't actually looked at any other roster or salary cap situation. So, might I just say, I'll ride with Josh Allen. And 2, Nate Carter was jacked, probably dominated the scene at the beach, but left a lot to be desired as a running back. Tell me MSU has some horses at the position this year. And 3, home loan interest rates should never be above 2%. Fuck this shit. Fix it, Mayor Couch.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm so grateful we got our house where we did in terms of interest rates. Yeah, I do think that it'll be interesting because that's a position where they're young. They obviously have the transfer from Sacramento State, who could be good. I'm never going to, they've had some good transfers. But I do think that's a position that's interesting because I think while there's talent there, you got to pass protection matters so much at that stage. And I think that's wide open in terms of who emerges there. I really do. I think that's, and I think it's also a little bit like if their receiver room was the same as their running back room, I think you'd have concern. I think that receiver, they're experienced. They've got a lot of talent. I think they're going to be really good, and I think they may have enough talent at running back. I just don't know. We just don't see that much, and we don't know who's ready and who's not, and how it translates and all that sort of stuff. So I just can't promise you that.
Couch on fire. Refs are ass. You can't put a league apology on your mantle. And bonus, low grades for Lions draft. Trading 2 third-rounders next year to move up for a receiver nobody was interested in was a bit head-scratching. We need your interns to analyze draft grades versus performance. Our interns?
Yeah, we would take you. Yeah,
we need interns.
Yeah, we'll take you. I do. I agree with this. I mean, I think I agree with accountability and analysis. And I don't mind. I've been wrong in analysis. What did I say? The 2018 MSU football team might be the most prolific offense ever, and then they were like the worst offense ever. So
matchup proof.
We missed a few times. The key is not to take yourself too seriously when you mess that up. To still try to do the job seriously, and to explain where you get things wrong. And too many people are really too defensive with that stuff because the draft is a crapshoot. There's no doubt about it. I mean, this is why the NFL gets so many quarterbacks wrong. It's just hard to do this stuff.
But to trade the picks though to get this kid who wasn't. I mean, was he coveted by others? I know he's coveted by Holmes and the Lions franchise, but I can understand criticizing that. But if you like the last couple listener a while ago said the whole draft was ass. I mean,
it's so hard to get overworked by any decision by Brad Holmes right now. It's just hard because he's just done so well, and it's just so. I mean, it's interesting with all these teams in Detroit being really good and relevant all of a sudden. Think about it. People we're upset about what happened to the Pistons in a playoff series that's competitive with a 3 seed in the East. We just haven't seen that in so long. I mean, we're nitpicking the Lions draft when they were the best record in football last year. I mean, the Tigers have the best record in the American League. I mean, this is just, it's almost sensory overload in a lot of ways. Doesn't mean there aren't things, we want these things to play out. And I think one of the things that's, you think about the Tigers, the last generation of the Tigers, they did not win a World Series. And we remember that. So you want to see it finish. The Pistons should have won more than one last time. So you're always on edge about this stuff. But at this point with Brad Holmes, he's just done so much better than anybody else. And he will make mistakes. I'm willing to trust him.
Max next. Sure, the refs are ass. We all saw the foul. But maybe it's the NBA playoff hierarchy that's the real culprit. The idea that a team has to pay its dues over several playoff runs is what is doing the Pistons in. The upstart, first time in forever playoff team couldn't possibly be better than the mighty Knicks. So 2 blatant missed calls, the over and back, and a foul are just chalked up to growing pains. The NBA is ass too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you in the sense that, especially in the way things are now, like the Pistons roster is going to change over time as they grow. Like it's not going to be this group. Like this group had a chance this year to win a round. I think they legitimately had a chance. I don't think they're quite as good as the Knicks, but I think they're damn close. And they should have won that last game.
If they were healthy as well.
Yeah.
No Isaiah Stewart, Jaden Ivey.
And that's what's frustrating. It doesn't feel like this is a series where, at least they got to take their shot and we know where they're at. Part of what's cool about this for the Pistons, though, I think part of this series was, and these playoffs are, discovering what still needs to be done and how far away they are. And now part of the problem is when you don't have Isaiah Stewart and you don't have Jaden Ivey, guys who are still part of your roster, and you don't know what that looks like entirely, and that's a little frustrating. And you do also want, like, if they're capable of winning a series, all right, then let's be able to judge them in a second round. Let's see how they would do against the Boston Celtics. I would love to see that series. That might go really poorly, but at least we get to see it. And they deserve better than they got at the end of that game. Doesn't mean they didn't blow their own chances, but the league's got to find a way to be able to correct a missed call like that.
Kevin from Rochester Hills next. Number 1, Mel Kiper sucks ass and must be getting paid to be Sanders' mouthpiece. And 2, parents can ruin college players' careers. And 3, Javi Baez is a lock for the All-Star team. Okay.
That's incredible.
That would be great.
It would be fun.
That would be great. It would be fun to see Javi in an All-Star game.
Yeah. It's
why not?
Anyway,
happy for him.
The Javi Baez story it's
great.
It's a redemption story to some degree.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I love it.
Yeah. It's
The edible finally kicked in.
Yeah.
So smiling. I have a perma smile on. Yeah, absolutely, Graham.
That is
great point.
We'll say that Kevin is the most entertaining hot take. Javi Baez of the All-Star team, presented by our friends at Xfinity Mobile. Now through June 21st, existing Xfinity Internet customers can get an unlimited line for a year. Plus, ask how to get a free 5G phone. Learn more at XfinityMobile.com. Now through June 21st for existing Internet customers. That is what the most entertaining take today. It's presented by Xfinity Comcast.
Eric Smith up next. Best. The officiating in the NBA is so bad and has been for 30-plus years that it makes you question the legitimacy of the whole league. Hard to argue with people who say it's fixed. And bonus, the Tigers' pitching has been lights out. Still wish they had gotten one of these bashers this offseason and baked. Time for Mel Kiper Jr. to go away. He consistently embarrasses himself with his outrageous ego. His defense of Shedeur Sanders this year was laughable. But is it laughable if he actually believes it? I don't mind if you believe that.
Yeah,
if you're going to go on and defend Shedeur Sanders, you had him on your top of your board where your draft.
Where it's dangerous is like if Shedeur Sanders doesn't work out as a quarterback or really ever show signs of being a good, decent NFL quarterback, then you look like a total buffoon. And he's had guys he's missed on. I mean, he rose into sort of fame by going after the Colts for not drafting Trent Dilfer, who didn't turn into John Elway. So you got to be a little
Kiper.
You got to be careful on that.
Yeah. Chris Fletcher, NBA postgame pool reporters are bullshit. Want to ensure refs are held accountable? Make them available to live media like players. Everyone makes mistakes, but seeing and hearing officials admit them to the media on camera would go a long way with the fans. No, it wouldn't.
It would make, you don't need, I don't know.
Dude, I mean, listen, NBA refs are ass, right? But those guys do take a beating during the game. Do we really need to put them out in front of like other media too? I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm torn on this. There are times I think that they belong in the press conference, and there are times I think they don't. Or if they had a limited
Get
moment,
them out of there.
Yeah, it's
not.
hard.
It will not end well. No. Mike Scott, NBA refs are ass. It's not a legitimate league until that changes, or they change the rules to allow for automatic reviews, like in soccer. As bad as soccer can be, with not changing for tie better, it is worlds better than most other professional sports leagues in the U.S.
Not changing for a tie. I'm a little concerned what we're saying here, Mike. But I don't know where you're at here. I apologize. I should have given that a better edit.
Should have knew what he was saying.
I should have known what you were saying.
What's wrong with you? Big John Hogg. Number 1, hard to blame refs when you blow leads and make mental mistakes, but man, the refs aren't helping. 2, public golf is getting too expensive and the game needs to shrink. And 3, been playing more pickup basketball lately. How do you deal with the guy that consistently takes awful shots?
You gotta berate them. Especially if they think they're great. You gotta get into them. You gotta let them know.
Looking into a mirror?
You gotta let them know they're the problem. No. I'm a shooter. You gotta let them know I don't take bad shots. You gotta let them know especially if they don't move the ball. Especially if it's not just they take awful shots, but they're kind of it's a bad decision guy. Because that could kill a team. You got to speak up, and you want to do it tactfully, but you got to be like, hey man, you're killing us here. Just simple things like that. The shot selection, man, it's killing us. Little things like that.
Imagine that on a Sunday morning. You're just trying to get in a little run. And you got Couch coming up to you.
I've been there. I've been there.
Money bag. Even with the Pistons in the playoffs, the NBA's ass.
I disagree. I love the NBA.
The Ernie Harwell of Southern Maine next. I know how you feel about wearing jerseys, and I only wear one on Thanksgiving for 4 hours. But goodness, I'm considering buying a Tate Ratledge jersey.
Would you buy
throw that mullet out?
Yeah.
Is it 69? Is that the number?
Yeah. That
just a picture of Quinn and Couch 69 in the back.
Yeah.
Some dude, number 1, the Tigers have to do something to fill those seats behind the plate. They always look so comfy and empty. And 2, I never thought I'd wear a jersey again, but the Lions got me, and my son was getting them for $27 from China. They look great, and I look great in them, and so does the Rube. Number 1, Muskox flannel. Number 2, Brian Branch jersey. 3, It kills me when someone says that the NIL system that we've created sucks. No one created this shit. It just evolved from losing the court cases, so no rules.
You're right. We didn't actually create the NIL system. I don't deserve any blame for it. You don't. It's a system that evolved. Well, it evolved from court cases, but it also evolved from a system that we loved before that allowed this to happen. But you're right. The idea we've created is total bullshit.
Jay Riemenschneider, this would be hard, but for those who are feeling disenfranchised with college sports, the best thing to do is not pay attention to recruiting, the portal, NIL, or realignment, and just watch your team once the season starts. And win or lose, stay a I don't know what FSOC.
Oh, sorry.
Social. Oh, well, stay off. I got you. Stay off social media and podcasts, except this one. And baked multi-TV setups look too ridiculous for me. One giant-ass TV with the best tech is enough.
Oh, so you have the multi-screen on one TV. Yeah, well, that's one way to go with it as well. But
I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Look, the best thing to do, actually, I think, and this is the healthiest thing to do, is to ignore the offseason as best you can. It's hard for people to do, because if you're a fan, you care. You want, and maybe we get to the point where we can pick it up just when the season's getting close. But there's a danger of losing passion if that happens. And if you lose passion, the whole thing spirals and becomes a little less. It's a hard, yes, the healthiest thing to do is to say, fuck this, see you in August. It's hard to get there.
Sparty Barb next. Number 1, I'm going to miss Jaden Akins. He was a complete player who dedicated his college career to MSU. A gift to have players with that level of loyalty and commitment. And 2, sucks that MSU Olympic sport teams are stuck competing against UCLA, swooping in and knocking them out of the Big Ten title contention. 3, go Tigers. And bonus, Trump and his minions need to keep their hands off America's colleges and universities. Stay away from MSU, you imbecilic fascist.
Tell us how you really feel, Barb. Look, I think guys like Jaden Akins are going to be more appreciated as time goes on. The 4-year guy who gives it all. Now, Akins was a frustrating player at times because he didn't always hit the big shots. He shot 29% from 3 after shooting 36% from 3 last year and 42% from 3 the year before. Like, why does that happen? And so there's a frustration. But he will be appreciated as more and more guys leave too early. When Akins comes back and he's introduced, there will always be applause because he was a huge part of this team this season, and he stuck around for 4 years.
C-dubs, hot. Instead of a 7-foul bonus limit, the NCAA should adopt the following. The third foul between TV timeouts leads to a 1-on-1 situation, then resets at the commercial break. Eliminates 12 minutes of unnecessary free throw shooting and puts flow back into the game. Reasonable. Playoff hockey is so great because they don't have commercials or extended stoppages in play every 15 seconds. And baked. Applesauce is the fruit equivalent of mashed potatoes.
I like both, no question. I'd eat,
together?
Probably not together, but yeah, I like both. I don't know why I had to say that, but yeah, playoff hockey is incredible. And by the way, a couple different listeners have been emailing me and letting me know when there's a game in overtime, and I appreciate that because that is awesome. I get an update when there's a playoff game going in overtime, and we need to have an app for that. But it's incredible because I've been a couple times been able to actually catch it or go down. Once I got out of bed and went down and watched the end. It was fantastic.
Steve Whittico, scorching take. The Rube should not have made the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for simply playing David Hasselhoff while Couch looks up Kyle Arn's shooting splits. Mm-hmm. Hot take, gaudy championship rings for a weekend tournament victory in youth sports is silly.
Are they real Are they real rings? I mean, what? I mean, they're like lollipop
giant rings that parents have to pay for.
Yeah, that's the problem. Parents have to pay for it. Yeah.
Neurotic pants. Number 1, Couch the Rube should pick an endorsement for dude wipes, describing the fresh feeling it gives them. And 2, people can argue with me, but MSU hockey absolutely did lose some momentum as the season went on. That seems to happen to MSU hockey. They would be outright Big Ten champs otherwise.
Well, I think the Red Savage injury hurt them, and yeah, there was a stretch where they weren't as good, but I thought they were fine late. That's not why this season ended the way it did. I don't believe they just didn't put a team away when they had to in the NCAA tournament.
Richard Kane. Spring football has always been ass. A football festival, including Gus Macker-style flag football tournament in Spartan Stadium, might be a fun event that could turn into a new tradition. And bonus, Professor may be right about this SNL cast being in the top 3 all time. Definitely in the discussion. I think most people think the cast they first experienced in junior high or high school is the best of all time.
Yeah, because you have, right. And we all have, it's the reason certain shows live with us forever because we loved them when we were 11 or 12. And
I mean, Chris Farley, Bowen Yang. I don't know. I mean, Jesus.
Bowen Yang's good. No? Not a fan?
I don't know.
Chris Farley was but Chris Farley
from this cast,
Chris Farley was us in middle school, right? So that's what we remember. That's when we were at our peak of like an impressionable.
That's why I said it.
Yeah.
Sorry. Travis Maynard flopping under the basket while pretending to fight for a rebound is hot ass and needs to go. Amen Thompson could have ended Jimmy Butler's career. And bonus, speaking of flops, Rube, international flights are on another level than whatever Spirit plane you're taking to Vegas. They're bigger, roomier, the amenities and service are plentiful. Yes, you can walk around, get your ass up and leave the country for a bit, bring back stories.
There you go. Get on an international flight.
Only flew Spirit one time.
And you've been to Mexico. You were just out. You were on an international flight 2 years ago.
January.
Right? Yeah. Oh, yeah, this
last
January.
Yeah. Whatever. Scotty Green's El Camino, number 1. The only thing weirder than Couch has got to be Bill Belichick and his barely legal wife. Did you guys see that? What kind of weird sex shit must she give him? Because she seems insufferable. 2, JUCO award winner? Really? This is supposed to be the transfer portal signing that excites us? And don't you dare lecture me again on the Hope defensive end, Couch. Like Matt C. said, at least it appears Smith won't yank his hog into a sex ed teacher. And 3, motherfucking Detroit Tigers. That's it. That's the take.
I'm a JUCO guy. I'm always going to be excited about JUCO guys. If I were a coach somewhere, I'd recruit all JUCO guys. You'd have a JUCO roster, up and down, left and right. I love JUCO guys.
Yank his hog. Hans Jurgen, number 1, Shedeur Sanders finally fired his dad. The LSJ should do the same with Graham. 2, the best part of living in a poor neighborhood is that no one gives a shit about their lawn. And 3, why work on your house when sports gambling is readily available?
These are all, Hans, you're a man of great wisdom and probably some pure options, but we appreciate you.
Jake Hoggins, number 1, just when it looked like an epic comeback after a sloppy first half of basketball and their first home playoff win again since 2008, the pure stinking ass refs screw the Pistons right at the end. Couldn't let us have one free throw attempt for a possible overtime. It really is Detroit versus everybody. 2, thank God MSU football had at least one player get drafted in the NFL draft this weekend, and it wasn't Jonathan Kim. It was an offensive lineman. I guess offensive lineman coach Jim Macklewitz knows what he's doing. Now it's time for MSU's offensive line to show improvement this year. And 3, With all the Shedeur Sanders drama, the most interesting came Saturday after he was picked and Mel Kiper Jr. got into a heated debate on live TV with Louis Riddick and Reese Davis, shouting, "The NFL has been clueless for 50 years, and you haven't been, Kiper. No more hair mousse for you."
It was not Kiper's finest moment. It was great TV, and I'm not sure ESPN doesn't want that. But he didn't. He just seemed to lose.
I think they want him to do it next year too.
Really?
Oh, sure.
He just seemed
pick a player and keep going. What else? I mean,
and if Sanders winds up being a hell of a quarterback, Kiper's going to look great, and this will be remembered. This will be remembered.
Upper Deck Jerk Guy finally here. I may be spoiled by the TNT crew, but ESPN halftime show for NBA games sucks.
Sucks. I think it sucks. It's the proper term. Sorry.
Bonus: Napoleon was only about 5'5", but that was taller than the average Frenchman at the time. Probably would have played the 3 or maybe even the 4.
Napoleon is a wing small forward, stretch guy. I like it. Upper Deck Jerk Guy, appreciate you. TNT is just way better than ESPN. ESPN's never been able to get the halftime show right. They've just never been able to do it. I don't really understand it because they've had some good people from time to time as well. We appreciate all of you for producing our show and listening and hopefully having plenty of MGs in your system from Pure Options. We appreciate Pure Options. Again, always pureoptions.com. Download the app today. You can, go to we'll fix it. Locations throughout Michigan, Lansing, Muskegon, Mount Pleasant, Detroit. We appreciate Midtown Brewing Company, of course, and our friends at Muskox Flannels. Go muskox.com. Fix it in post, which we never seem to do. For this show, and Xfinity Comcast. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Room.